Esports BD. In this interview as well, they will talk about how the partnership with MPL Philippines has contributed in making the esports ecosystem more sustainable. And of course, their plans, future plans rather, and programs that will benefit as well the overall ecosystem. So for Smart, we have here Monique Monasterio. She is the manager for content and business development at Esports and Gaming. And then for FWD Life Insurance, we have Roche van den Berge, Chief Marketing and Digital Business Officer. For Moonton Games, we have Viloria, our Esports Business Development Lead. So, maybe we can start the group interviews now. Allow me by asking first, our Moonton Games representative, Ava Loria, can you just tell us how the partnership with FWD Life Insurance and, of course, Smart began?
Okay, so actually like partnerships with the two brands didn't start at the same time. Smart has been our partner since season 1. Actually, they have been in partnership with MPL long before I was with Moonton. So Smart has believed in esports, in our community, and in our platform ever since when we started small. So yeah, up until now, they have been very supportive as our official telco partner. Alongside sponsoring the tournaments, like Smart Communications is also active in partnering up with us. They are also doing their community initiatives. They're having their third-party tournaments as well. They are also, of course, they have a team, a professional team in esports, Smart Omega, which we just watched earlier. Alongside of that, they also have some KOL activations that's skewed towards gaming and MLBB most especially. They're not just supporting MPL actually. When we send delegates for MLBB tournaments that are organized by other big esports organizations, they have also been supportive. They have been supporting Team Seaball as well when we have sent a team for SEA Games. Smart is very supportive that way. And we are very proud, of course, we know that Smart has been supporting a lot of professional league, not just esports, like even traditional sports. And then as for FWD, they are new in our roster of partners and sponsors, and we are very glad to have our very first ever insurance company. I think within the whole MPL community globally, I think this is our FWD Life Insurance is our first life insurance sponsor. Whereas other regions actually are also interested in getting in touch with them. The first time I met with the PICs of FWD, it was during the playoffs of MPL Season 11, and then I asked them, like, you guys are a life insurance company, so usually life insurance brands would partner up with sports that have more, like physical action, because they're life insurance. Like if you get injured, at least you're insured. Like, what got you interested with esports? So there's actually like a lot of interesting answers, and I think I will let Roche answer that because they do have a very unique, unique messaging and selling point as well with their life insurance products, and yeah, I think they're trying to veer away from what their competitors are doing. So we are actually happy to have them.
Thank you so much, Lee. That's actually interesting to ask. For both ladies, what was the vision when you thought of this partnership rather with Moonton Games or MPL Philippines? What was your objective rather when you thought of partnering with MPL Philippines? Maybe we can start with Ms. Roche.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. So FWD Life Philippines, we are not your ordinary type of insurance company. Right? In fact, we are committed to changing the way people feel about insurance. Like what he said, this is the first ever in the Philippines, and like what she said, now it might be also in the entire ecosystem of Mobile Legends, that an insurer actually got to esports, right? Why esports? Because we saw that it's a very active community. of young people and not so young at all as well, and that we wanted that they'll be able to use the strategies and approaches in gaming in real life finances. So that's really one of the core reasons. Plus, as you also know that in the Philippines, more than 43 million are active gamers and 30% increase every year, whereas in insurance, the penetration rate is less than 2%. Right? So as the insurer of the next generation, how do we then ensure that our gamers or our professional athletes are actually in finances, they're also financially adept because they will need that as they grow with their passions and pursue their life ambitions.
Um, same question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, Lee already mentioned pretty much everything Smart does to support esports and gaming. I guess when you asked what the vision was when it comes to MPL in particular, as you know, Smart, we really try to support our subscribers' passions, and one of those passions really is sports. So Smart has always been a supporter of different sports, traditional sports like basketball, volleyball, and all that. And there really was the vision that esports, even though it wasn't taken seriously back then, would be the next big thing. So we wanted to support esports specifically through the MPL, and we wanted to make sure that these young gamers would be seen as professional athletes and not just how it was back then where they were just seen as gamers. We wanted them to be treated seriously as professional athletes in the same league as other sports.
You want to add to that? Okay. Thank you so much, ladies. Now, I'd like to ask if you could share with us, because of course the main topic really is more about the sustainability and how this collaborative space between MPL Philippines and all our brand partners is actually helping to make this industry more sustainable. If you could just share with us projects in the pipeline, or I guess recent projects that are targeted to the esports professional athletes that are very beneficial. Because I heard FWD Life Insurance actually just launched this insurance plan for players, for gamers. So maybe Ms. Ross, if you could share more about that.
Yeah, so we're actually very excited. This is our first foray in esports. So what's in it for the partnership? So first, we're actually covering, providing insurance to our 80 athletes. So apart from that, apart from the insurance coverage, we're also conducting financial planning or financial literacy across not just for the players but for the entire ecosystem. Because then again, as I mentioned earlier, we wanted to be able to translate the strategies and approaches they do for gaming in real life finances. So also, what we're most excited about is the first ever product actually for gamer for insurance. So we call it the insurance for gamers. We call it the one for gamers, and the exclusive rewards are actually Mobile Legends in-app games. So it's really very exciting. It's very affordable. For the entry amount is only 330 pesos per year. And apart from that, it's so easy and intuitive for our gamers to get avail of because you can purchase it online at shop.fwd.com.ph.
That's very exciting. Thank you so much, Ms. Rosh. How about this contract, if you could share with us? Of course, this includes the recent event, the Greatest Gamer.
Yes, we did recently conclude a partnership with TikTok and Moonton for the Greatest Gamer. I guess if you're asking about what's in the pipeline, this is definitely a partnership that we see going on for a long time. So this is something that we'd like to keep doing in the next few years. As she's mentioned, we do have our own esports team, Smart Omega. We also support the national esports team, Seaball. And we also have our own gaming and esports tournament platform, Giga Arena. So that's something that we launched last year. So although it doesn't have any professional aspect to it, it is open to all. We see it more as a training grounds. So anybody can join. We have tournaments there daily. So if you want to test your skills, especially with Mobile Legends, then you can go there and play every day. Well, I guess aside from that, we'll just keep continuing what we do. Yeah. Okay. To add to that as well, aside from the naming rights or like the presenting partnership support of Smart to MPL on our every seasons. Like for this season, there are also like other added projects that actually Smart will be supporting. So in the coming weeks, we are going to be having the MPL battle trips, wherein we are going to be inviting students from different universities around Metro Manila, and then Smart have also provided us some items to give away to those attendees from different universities. Because aside from Smart, supporting the gamers as to be professional athletes later on, we also are in partnership with them in giving the proper literacy or education about the opportunities that are in store for esports. And then aside from that, Smart will also be supporting the esports journalism workshop. So that's going to be starting week 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, they are going to be having some tokens as well to the students who are going to be having a good case studies and coverage for esports here in MPL. And then to add also on FWD, I was very curious when I first met him, as I mentioned earlier, and then I asked him like, FWD, you guys are life insurance, so what attracted you to sponsor an esports tournament? Like all our athletes are playing while they're seated. Like we're not really that physical. So I think the unique selling point or the uniqueness of FWD is that their director for marketing communications told me that Lee, other insurance are supporting those events with like more physical activities because they would think that if you get injured, at least you are insured. But for FWD, the interesting thing that I heard about them is that you guys are insured, so do not be afraid to live your life to the fullest. So yeah, and I think they also want to tap our target market, which is the younger generation, because from my impression, of course, like the people who would buy insurance would be the people who are already very concerned about their finances. But our target market are very young, so I think FWD wanted to have that advocacy of having the financial literacy as well to the younger generation. So that if ever, like for example, like gamers, streamers, they have a lot of opportunities to earn in this platform. So take care of your finances now while you are young, and while you can make money out of whatever you can in this platform.
Thank you so much, ladies. Now, I'm open the floor for questions. If anyone from our media friends here has any question, please. I don't ask enough of Any question?
Hi, James Yasin from Daily Tribune. First of all, sa FWD and Smart, of course, we do not doubt your intention to help grow the esports scene din naman po, ano. But at the same time, FWD and Smart being a business, I think, is it safe to say that you are also looking for a return, maybe not today, not tomorrow, but in the near future?
I would say this is because for us it's an investment, right? It's a long-term. When we actually thought of entering the esports world, we don't do tactical. It's a long-term strategy for us. Why? Because first, like I said earlier, diba, a lot of the young people, the passion points increasing in gaming. But when they're do gaming and they can be professional players and all that, they will also have to start earning income. And at the same time, so there's the health and wealth component. So when we talk of the wealth component, they start to earn. So that's where one of our advocacy comes in, because it will help them with financial planning. And then of course, in the long term, in the hopes that when they're ready, they can purchase plan that are actually attuned to their needs. Second, there will be some instances wherein their health will be affected, right? Like for example, if you're into playing, your vision, you will have blurry vision and all that. So we wanted again to raise awareness that if they are financially protected and if something not so good happened to them, as long as they have a backup plan, like an insurance, that it will be able to help them. So as we say here, at least in this arena, in this gaming, we are their expert wingman. So that's how we position ourselves.
So as a brand, we just want our subscribers to know that we support them in all their passions. And I guess as a network, then we want everyone to know that we are currently the best network that you could have if you want to enjoy gaming from anywhere. We have right now the fastest speeds and the best coverage across the country. So that's really all we want, is for people to know that.
Okay, well, actually, there's a reason why I asked that question for FWD Smart. Much has been said about the growth of esports globally, and I think we all actually see the numbers, not just here sa MPL, but globally. But at the same time, much has been said about yung financial side of esports. I will give you one example. Sabi ng 100 teams, which is one of the biggest organizations in the world, when they become a world champion po sa Call of Duty last year, even though they won a lot of money, they were in the hole actually. They've lost $2.5 million that year. And one of the popular streamers sa gaming is this guy Stos. He actually established his own team, Valorant team. But so far, sabi niya, he's been losing money. And one of the things that caught my attention here, other than he's losing money, is that he particularly said that when he approached sponsors to back his team, yung mga mainstream brands na nakikita po natin sa esports, these sponsors said that they are merely finishing their contracts because they do not see any returns sa kanilang investment po sa esports. Now, I'm not trying to scare you guys, but is that something that you see, or is that something that could, probably worry the company down the road? Thank you.
I can't speak for all companies. However, I think the question needs a little bit more context, because Smart's main business is not esports. So in terms of revenue generation, this isn't our main business. So I think that the way that we support, or that we view our support of esports, would be different from other companies whose main business it is esports, especially with running a team. From your first point, where they won the championship, the team that won the championship, and they still were financially in the red. I guess I can't comment, but again, our main business isn't esports, so I'd have to say that. But with our Smart Omega team, the way we run it is that we do make sure that our athletes are protected. They have the proper contracts, the proper benefits, and all that.
Yeah, so let me talk about the commitment of FWD Life in the country. We started here in 2014. This is our 9th year. In the region, it's our 10th year. So we will be celebrating our milestone 10th year next year. Right, so when we enter the market, it's, insurance, the relationship is always long-term. Right, so we're here for the long run. The same way when we thought of penetrating the esports, and we really try to understand first what the market is all about. Until now, I cannot say that we know everything there is to it. So that's why we said this is our first foray. So again, the commitment of our insurance, or of FWD Life, is first, we wanted to ensure that the players and the ecosystem, as much as possible, we provide financial planning, because knowledge is important for you to be able to manage your wealth properly. So that's one. So, and when we start them young, it's much easier for them to actually imbibe that it's not just about earning, it's actually what you do to actually increase your wealth. Now, second, as we try to learn more about the industry, so again, our commitment to let's say the ecosystem and to the gaming is there. We're also part of our nation building approach to ensure that every single Filipino actually have the capacity to understand how to manage their money and how to be financially protected. There's still a lot of things to learn, and we let you know as we go along in the journey, diba? So definitely we're so excited just to be part of today's event, and to be able to go with them and find out the representative of the Philippines for the World Games.
Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, Janet from Taipei Times. So for you guys, I heard that you were mentioning about player wellness. So has any of your brands explored supporting programs for esports players in the aspect of media training or other things related to that? Because I think in esports scene that is the only thing that's missing among our esports teams here in the Philippines. It's like how to do PR that would actually help in promoting their own esports orgs as well as the brands that sponsor these teams. So have you ever explored that kind of program here in the MPL?
Okay, I think I could answer for that. Yeah, I think for MPL, since we know that we are usually having post match interviews, and then our teams in the Philippines are very strong, and then every now and then we send delegates to international tournaments, and then as a part also of building our athletes, as professional athletes. Of course, our PR right here has given that workshop. We are starting slowly because these guys, these kids started with just their passion for playing. But of course, we are also directing them to a professional path wherein they would be able to represent themselves, represent their team, represent the organization, represent the game, and technically they are advocates also, and key opinion. You can consider them sometimes like key opinion leaders and influencers, especially like esports players do have a lot of fan base. So as much as possible, we try to train them to know how to answer properly when they are being interviewed by media, so that we are also giving the right influence to their fans and their followers.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, I'm Apple, Esquire and Split Application. My question goes to FWD, because every time I interview players, I always ask them, after esports, what do you do? And they get speechless because they don't have plans for the future. How do you propose to that the players who are not planning for anything?
Yeah, that's actually a very, very, very big opportunity for us, right? So again, we're here for the long run. We wanted to invest in financial planning. So this is the start. As we all know, when you're young, there are so many things you think of except of finances, right? But again, part of our partnership with the organization is first to conduct financial planning, so we can start them on what are their wants, their aspirations, where do they want to go from here, and then they can tell us from health, it's either health or wealth, how we can support them and be their expert man. I still believe that there are still a lot of things to do. Because again, when you do financial literacy, it's an entire ecosystem, right? It's not just their exposure to us, but also the exposure to their education, to their immediate family, and to their friends as well.
Follow-up question. In our generation, millennials, before when they talked about insurance, yung general idea is, yung benefit, makukuha mo lang pag may nangyari sa'yo. How is FWD different?
Okay, so how are we different? So first, our brand promise is celebrate living. We're here to help them live their life to the fullest, as a promise, and they'll be confident in achieving their dreams because they're empowered to make financial decisions. How are we different? First, we have plans that's not necessarily a death benefit. In fact, we have a lot of living benefit. Second, we invest a lot in our content on social media, wherein we talk about not necessarily the sad stories of insurance, but actually how we can celebrate life and inject practical solutions that's appropriate for their age. So there are a lot of education component in everything that we do, whether it's social media, in our website, for example, and even yung mga plans namin. So we make it accessible to them.
I really like what you mentioned earlier, that you're going to help players or young people to grow their wealth. Question lang, is it variable insurance that's being offered?
Actually, it really depends on their needs. The plan that we have right now, what we call the gamer insurance, so it's a traditional product. right? But it comes with a rewards, and that's the Mobile Legends in-game, in-app rewards. It's appropriate to them because first, if you just tell them about insurance, they don't, right? It's not something that they'll be so excited about. But when you already embed the idea of gamification in this aspect, yeah, it's Mobile Legends, and it's actually become more attractive to them. Then that's how we plan to start. And as we go along, in fact, we'll be conducting a research actually amongst the players to really find out what are their needs in terms of health and then wealth. And then from there, we'll come up with another product that will be really bullseye or really appropriate for them.
My last question. Because of all the players that I've asked, all of them, sinusuportahan yung pamilya nila. Do you also cover the families of the players? For
Right now, because the gamer insurance, it's not, it's about there's life, there's critical illness, and there's accident as well, right? So by default, when people purchase insurance, it's really thinking of the family that they have. So that's the basic premise, right? If something happens to you, your family is covered. So I can say yes in a way. But as they go along, again, this is just the start. We wanted to know more about their aspirations as they go. They're very young right now. How old are they? Not even 20s. So, 17, 18. So as they grow older, their needs and wants will be different. When they're already ready, we can start doing Fitlet on how to grow their wealth. So that's another different path that we can take with them.
Thank you so much.
Question from Michelle of Philstar, please.
Hi, yes, good afternoon. My name is Michelle from Philstar. So my question is for Moonton and for FWD. So like investing in esports, like obvious choice of course is companies like Smart because of connectivity and network. But for life insurance, it's not really something that would be an obvious choice. So question for Lee and Ms. Rochelle, was there like any skepticism when this idea was first pitched, like for FWD? Why would we invest in something like that? And for Moonton, was it a surprise? Like, oh, why is a life insurance company contacting us for sponsorship or things like that?
Okay, yeah, actually, yeah, when I wasn't skeptical, but I was actually very curious. Like, how did you guys become, interested in partnering up with esports? As I mentioned earlier, the first time I met the PICs from FWD was when they watched MPL season 11 playoffs. And then, yeah, we talked, they saw the game. So my first question was, why esports? Yeah, because as I mentioned earlier, like our athletes are playing the game seated; they're not even sweating. So like, what is actually there? There's no like. I wasn't expecting for like any injury to happen, but like maybe we don't know. Maybe like some of them are having carpal tunnels and stuff. Something like that. But yeah, there is always something to get insured, and it's not just about sickness, right? As mentioned also by Rosh. FWD saw an opportunity in esports because of the market that we have, wherein they want to take that opportunity to bring more financial literacy to the younger generation. And I think one of the pegs that has been cited to me as an example, like, the child stars, like, when they are famous when they are young, and then they don't know anything else to do aside from, performing or acting in front of the camera. And then, paglaos na sila, whatever they had when they were kids, it's just gone because they didn't know how to manage their finances. So it's a perfect example of of an opportunity wherein FWD can come in because, as you know, in the gaming landscape, not just as professional players, we have a lot of KOL streamers, content creators who are earning a lot of money already by getting something out of the game, out of their hobbies. But if they don't know how to manage their finances, where will they be in the near future? Like, where will their finances be? So I think that's the best opportunity that FWD has seen in our platform.
Like what they said, actually there was no skepticism. In fact, there's a surprise, a really positive surprise. But more than that, there was really excitement, especially for the people around us, right? Our partners, our employees, our sales force. For those who are really in the know, FWD is known as a very innovative insurer. In fact, so now we're talking of esports. In the past, again, this is our 9th year. We've sent people to the North Pole to represent the Philippines, right? We have our own highway, the FWD MCX here in Alabang. So being in a different category again is not new, at least to the DNA of the company. But yes, because when we talk about the role of insurance, it's in the aspect of health and the aspect of wealth. When we think of insurance, before you only think of critical illness, it's really the grave sicknesses, diba? But in fact, when you talk to our players, there are new and emerging illnesses that come out. First, you have blurry vision. It can be carpal tunnel. It can be your back is aching because you're always sitting, right? So if people don't know how to financially protect themselves when they get a bit older, they wouldn't have money to get to help them defray the cost, for example. Yung second naman, especially they are professional players, they are at the peak. They're earning so much. But if they don't know how to actually properly think of how they wanted to use their money to support their ambition and their vision in life, then there will come a time that all of the, let's say, sacrifices that they've had will be put into, will be challenged in the future. So our role is to be there for them, be their expert wingman during their health challenges and wealth challenges.
And my question for Smart. We all know that esports is nothing without connectivity. And right now, a lot of esports fans are saying that esports can only be a career path or a professional path if you're here in Metro Manila. Outside Metro Manila, outside of Luzon, like in areas of Visayas and Mindanao where connectivity is an issue, it's an esports path. It's not something that you should be investing in. So is that something that Smart is looking into when it comes to bridging the gap of making esports available for everyone?
Okay, so when it comes to connectivity in places outside of Metro Manila, Smart is already working hard to provide our subscribers with the best coverage. We do invest a lot in infrastructure, but that is as a whole. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing it for esports. For esports and specifically the programs that we run, actually the programs that our go-to-market team runs, they're here right now actually, they do it across the nation. They agreed that a lot of the activities happen in Metro Manila, but we always make sure that we go to all of these places. We run tournaments there. We have activities there regularly as well, because we also know that that is how you grow talent across the nation, and sometimes you also find talent in these places. A lot of the tournaments that we have on Giga Arena is open to all, not just in Metro Manila. And it's the same with our recently concluded program, The Greatest Grave Gamer. The auditions were open to all. If you passed the audition and you were in a different region, we make sure that we flew them out. So none of our programs are specifically for Metro Manila. It's just, I guess it's fact that a lot more people are here, and a lot more people here join our programs.
Thank you.
Sorry, being volunteer, pero nahanapin magtanong eh. Fluffy nga pala from Teddy Peach. Sorry, Fluffy from fulcrumesports.gg. So, esports here in the Philippines is hindi na siya baby, hindi na siya infant. It's like toddler stage. So, again, besides from Smart and now FWD, there are very few mainstream brands that are entering the esports scene. What do you think is the major hindrance or yung agam-agam ng mga brands from entering the esports scene?
I think I will answer that. Okay, so yeah, of course for esports right now, of course our go-to would usually be the endemic brands, which is usually like telcos and then mobile phone. That's why insurance companies actually like a big surprise, like wow, insurance matured. No, but actually we have attended like a couple of workshops with some FMCG brands as well, and I think there is still a lot of work to do in terms of educating these brands of the opportunities, that an esports platform can offer. Because there is still that stigma that, esports is e-games. There is that misconception. There is also a misconception that esports or gaming is just a hobby, or it's just like a distraction, especially for the target market of some brands or your students, and they want to be good influence, of course, as brands. So I think, there's a lot of work to do in terms of letting them know the opportunities that they can, we can do for their brands, as well as citations of how much pride Philippine Esports has been giving to the Philippines as well, wherein their brand could also ride on. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do, but we're happy that whenever we are conducting or we are attending workshops with different brands, their minds are being open that esports is gonna be like the new hot industry. So there.
So additionally, I'll just ask, because both of the brands, they're not in the gaming or esports business, especially FWD's insurance, and they're doing it just to be differentiating them from the competition. And also with Smart, can you take us the thought process on how were you able to decide finally na papasok kayo sa esports, in terms of how did you decide and ano yung mga key factors na nakita niyo?
It's very hard to let you know the thought process of Smart, because Smart actually started supporting esports a long time ago. It started in 2015. I think that was the first big esports event that we supported here in Manila. So it's really hard to tell you exactly what the thought process back then was. But if it's anything similar to how we view it now, it's still the same. We identify the passions of our subscribers, and then we look at how we can support those passions. Like the question was how we finally decided to enter esports. So again, it's hard to answer, but we really do see esports, not just esports, but esports and gaming, as a major passion point, especially with our generation and the generation that came after us. I mean, there are just so many gamers. We saw that with the advent of smartphones and I guess just better network connectivity, that mobile games was really the turning point. When mobile gaming became popular, that's when a lot more people took up gaming, and that's really when we saw the industry grow. And as you know, the mobile connectivity is our business, so it wasn't really a hard or a difficult choice for us to make. It was just the next logical step for us to take.
Okay, before I answer the question, I just wanted to add to what he said earlier, how to make esports big, right? So in fact, it's in your hands, dear media people. The more you talk about it, in reality, right, the more you talk about it, it becomes more mainstream, and it will really help the industry, to be honest. So by doing this kind of interviews and really dissecting what esports and gaming is all about, and making the rest of the sponsors understand the business and how it can help in nation building, I think that will really help. So going back to your question, so for FWD, just like Smart, we're in the business of empowering people to pursue their passion. And when we remove the worries away, in our context, removing the financial worries away, then they can really fly and be empowered to do the things that they wanted to do. Entering esports is a no-brainer for us, to be honest. But it took us time to really penetrate, because we really have to understand the entire ecosystem, right? When you look at the market nowadays, there are a lot of young people. And when you think of young people, financially securing themselves is far from their top of mind. So when we dissected the market, there are a lot of Gen X and Gen Z and millennials in the market, and we look what are the passions that they are so excited about nowadays. So esports or gaming is one of them. So naturally, because of that that flow, then FWD comes in. So because if we wanted more people young people especially to be financially secured in the future, we have to start them now. And if their passion is gaming, we have to be where they are.
Thank you very much.
From One Esports. Quick question, because the term ecosystem community has been thrown around here and there. Question to, well, Smart can also answer, but we already heard so much about Smart over the years in terms of esports. But I guess this is more focused on FWD. Well, the Philippines is known to have a very good talent pool when it comes to esports. We've proven it time and time again, thanks to Sept. And that's because we have a good community and yung grassroots scene natin. Is there any plan where FWD would get involved or for the benefit of our grassroots scene?
We're not, we're actually looking, when we talk of community, because you said earlier, it's really everyone. You have the players, you have the sponsors, you have the family, you have grassroots, right? So we're looking into that. So this is our first foray. It doesn't stop us to look into the other side, because if we wanted to reach more of them, then we have to be where they are. Just like any sports, right? You start from the grassroots. So there's no commitment right now, but it's really something that we're considering at some point in time.
That's all. Thank you.
I just want to add to that as well. I think for FWD, since it's also their first time to enter into an esports partnership, I find them very collaborative because I think as a company, they are also like trying to learn, the product or the platform that they are investing in. In fact, when we have launched our first week for the MPL regular season, they had their own watch party in their office. And yeah, from what I know, they will be having their own in-office tournaments, MLBB tournaments as well. So I think it's really more of like embracing the partnership as well from an internal level, and then yeah, maybe from there they can grow later on in their efforts for esports.
Yeah. Hi, Ron.
Hello.
Well, I guess you said I didn't have to answer, but I'd still like to. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, well, I just wanted to say that it takes a whole village to raise a child, so everybody has to put in the effort if we want esports in the country to grow. So if ever FWD wants to enter the grassroots scene, we can help them. We'd be more than willing.
Yay, cross collaboration, love it.
Okay.
Hi. Gab from Gadgets Magazine. So, first a question to Moonton. Over the esports is the biggest it's ever been right now. So, before when you were starting out, siguro hindi din madali yung pagkuha ng sponsor. So, what can you say now that a lot more companies are going after you, going to you, offer and proposing their products, and then what made you decide that FWD and Smart would be the two biggest this year?
Okay, so thank you for that question. Yes, it's true that I think for now, at the moment, esports is at its peak. Because I've actually worked, my first ever job was in a gaming publisher as well. I did marketing. Back then, we still didn't have mobile gaming, so ganun na handa. Yeah, I can say that right now, we actually arrived. Kasi before, in the previous company I've been in, my first ever job, having pro players is just a vision. It's just a dream. It's just something that it's just an inspiration from what we see from esports teams in Korea, China, in America. But now we've arrived. So I think it's overwhelming also that as a platform, especially as a BD professional, instead of chasing after clients here and there just to meet targets, it's actually overwhelming that a lot of brands would want to partner up with you. So it wasn't actually a decision, but of course we usually give the first prize of refusal to our existing partners. And for telco category, Smart has been there with us ever since MPL is small. We didn't even know that we were gonna be transitioning to a franchise league, but they have been there. So they always have that perks with us. Before there are also other telco companies that are approaching us, to be honest. But yeah, as respect also to Smart, who's been there with us. The first favor goes to them. And then as for FWD as well, a non-endemic brand being interested to partner up with us. And I think it's also something that we need, not just, for individual players, for the individual athletes, but I think it could help us as an organization and as an ecosystem as a whole in the long run, provided that, we have the right strategy as partners. So yeah, I think that's what makes them big as well. And then another partner that we don't have right now because they are busy with their upcoming launch, Infinix, our mobile partner. Of course, they're an endemic brand. It's a mobile phone, so understandably, we will always gonna be having a mobile phone partner. But the good thing is that for Infinix, they are actually going big as well in terms of investing with MLB Esports, not just in the Philippines but also in other regions like Indonesia. They are sponsoring, I think, MPL, and yeah, they are also looking into other regions globally wherein MLB Esports is present.
Siguro second question for FWD. Not a lot of people know this, but having life insurance in esports is not completely new. In fact, South Korea, one of the biggest team, Hanwha Life Esports, Hanwha is the biggest life insurance in South Korea, so they're sponsoring a team. So maybe this question, it's, are you planning to eventually field a team sa future?
Right now, our commitment is in the sponsorship of Mobile Legends. We don't know. It can be in the future, right? Again, yung ecosystem is so huge. Players, publishers. So this is our first foray. The more we know how esports works and how our products and services can really be relevant, then the more we'll be able to widen our reach and be able to achieve the goals that we have set in the first place.
Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, ladies, for